but the police are paid to do this job serve and protect. If this is something that you don't feel that you can do, then you should not be a police officer. I'm not going to have a fireman who sits there and says, I'm not finna put out this fire. Hey, I don't, he didn't put out the fire. We ain't gonna say nothing. We've got to have some kind of honor and integrity here. And it seems like right now, the perception is about the police officers around the United States is that the perception is that they are corrupt. You don't want to have that perception as a policeman. You don't want, not especially a good policeman who's walking around. You don't. And let me tell you something. I understand the fear of a good policeman speaking out because he has to deal with all the policemen that don't want him to say anything. Hey, man, don't you say nothing. I don't care what
It was like refused to testify, or they were like, no, they were told not to testify.
Right. They're going to shut them down because they're going to protect their own first.
Yeah. And just switching gears just real quick. The same situation happened. Now we're talking about a police officer, another situation in Cleveland where a 12-year-old boy gets shots for having a BB gun. Now he's sitting up there supposedly just with some friends, and someone sees him out there and they call the police. Now, the man has been stated or confessed that he said it's probably a little kid out there and it's not a real gun. The police officer sees him and shoots him within 2 seconds of getting out the car in the stomach. Now, video is all over the place on that, and this is another situation in Cleveland. How do you see a 12-year-old? Now, what they said was interesting to me. Now, the situation was they said that the young man, the police department said that it was his fault, because the young man didn't use what they call just cause.
He's 12. Right.
He's 12. But they're saying because he didn't use just cause, the police officer is not guilty because the young person who had the BB gun did not use what they call just cause.
I'm 52. What's just cause?
And I'm glad you brought that up because I had it there for a second. Of course, you know how whenever you have something, you can't find something no more. But I have it down here as a Wikipedia scenario here, what just cause was. And just cause is basically you are supposed to do something to make sure that you are protecting the right of others, that you're not doing anything neglectful that would harm the protection of the right of others. To me, that's what the police should have been doing. He should have been just cause, not the 12-year-old boy.
Right.
He don't know what just cause is.
I don't know what just.
That's what I just said.
And so how are you going to sit there and say, we're not going to convict this person because they should have known just cause? And the police in the city of Cleveland was sitting there blaming the young man. Not only this, the scenario gets a little worse because now all of a sudden the young boy, I think I forgot the age over there. The brother, he got pulled over to the side and thrown up against a car. The young girl, I think was about 14 years old, they handcuffed her. Now, this is the family with them. The mother wants to go see the child that's on the ground. They won't let her and told her if she don't get her act together, they're going to arrest her. My child is on the ground dead. And you're going to tell me, you need to just stop acting up or we're going to have to arrest you. Now, how does a young boy at 12 supposed to know what just cause is? I think what happens a lot of times, the boy was supposed to know just cause and the cop just said just because.
Wow.
But you know what, though? Like we was mentioning earlier, officer friendly is gone. They don't teach that in school. You used to have we don't know the whole story. We used to have respect for the cop. If they come and say something to you, you just stop, freeze, and do whatever. We don't know if that little boy just kept playing or couldn't hear him or whatever the case may be. But 12 years old is not like a baby 12-year-old in our day.
Right,
We got 12-year-old gangsters here in Chicago, and the cops are acting out on what they know. I'm not taking up for the cops. I'm not defending the little boy. I'm sorry if did he die? Get killed?
Yeah, he died.
I feel sorry for the family and everything. I pray that the little boy just didn't understand and he just got caught up in a bad day with a bad cop. But in Chicago, 12-year-olds are initiating gang members. They walking around with all kind of guns and could show you a thing or two. So that's what I'm saying. The cops are operating not off of fear, but of your life or my life, and that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, and that's understandable and stuff, but you can't make that decision in 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, you've already made the decision before you get out the car that you're going to shoot somebody. Yeah. You can't sit there and say, I feared for my life in 2 seconds. You get out of the car and shoot the person.
And you said they told him that it was a BB gun.
Right, because what I'm reading here is basically saying that it says the concerned man watching from across the street called police to report the gun-wielding child, assuring on his 911 call that the gun was probably fake and that the man with the gun was probably a juvenile. Responding officer allegedly were never relayed information about the 911 call.
The other thing, though, that throws me off, when you were talking about back when we were younger and officer friendly, we played with guns all the time. We played with water guns, cap guns, mock guns.
I was gonna say, like, based off of how we were talking about, like, imitating what's on TV and stuff like that. That's one of the things that is on TV. All of these cartoons with kids, they show the good guys and the bad guys fighting, and they're not fighting like, oh, let's fight. No, the bad guy is trying to kill the good guys. So the kids are growing up seeing the guns, and that's why they playing with them, and then seeing all of the older people out here playing with them. Like, that's what they know. That's what they think is okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's true. We're not living in the age that we lived in before, but it does not mean shoot first. I mean, get out the car. You're in the car. Whatever happened to get on that siren and say, hey, put down the gun, or we have to shoot at you. Hey, you put down the gun. Put down the gun. Exactly. Stay in the car and don't do something. Now, Cleveland again was just stellar on this, because they made a report that the boy was his own fault, and then they said not only did they blame the boy, they blame individuals, meaning they're blaming the mother and entities. So they're blaming the mother for not knowing that the boy had a toy gun. A lot of kids have cap guns or BB guns and stuff like that. And, even in my day they have it. But then they're going to say the entities were at fault. So now you're blaming Toys R Us, Target, all those places like that for supplying these guns as well. And so it's everything other than the policeman's fault. It's the mother for not knowing it. It's the entities for doing it. But it's not the police job to say, hey, let me make sure that before I decide to end someone's life, let me first find out if this person is rational enough or understanding enough when I say something. There's nothing that says that policeman. Now, it says here that the officer got out of his car and told the boy to put his hands up. That's what this is saying. Cleveland.com is saying that the boy reached into his waistband, pulled out the gun, and the rookie cop shot 2 times. So now, if this is the case, then okay, now we're looking at a different situation. Mm-hmm. But when we saw the video, he got out that car and shot. So is it, conflicting information here? What's going on? But when you don't know about an incident, then you don't have to get out the car to shoot. Let's get to a point where we're training people properly enough that shooting is not the first thing you do. I understand you're fearing for your life. I would never want to be a policeman, because making a decision like that of life and death, would mess up my mind completely. And I commend you for being out there, but we can't just sit there and use fear for my life all the time and shoot first.
But you know what? Why not use it? I'm playing devil advocates today. Why not use it if I know I could get away with it, Rick? I mean, I could get away. I could, as Jamie's politely schooled us, I could shoot one time and clear out my round in the gun, right? And I'm justified for doing it.
Yeah, but why not? Because you were sworn to hold to protect.
But that's how people think. I had a conversation with someone earlier, and they was saying, and I don't think they meant it in a bad way, but they were saying like that's one of the reasons why they're going into it. I was like, so you could shoot people and get away with it? They were like, no, but you can get away with so much just because you're a cop.
There's so many loopholes and protection
even
for
little
the
simple
blue
stuff
shield.
like running a light.
I hate that.
Why are you in a rush to go
and it's sad,
all the cops are gonna hate
that happens. I'm gonna tell my boy Jonathan to on the line here to make sure you put on that the shock factor right about 8:00, and we can go from there. Or if you need to do it a little bit after that, then let me know. But we're sitting here and we're looking at evidence. We're people in a courtroom and we're looking at evidence. And I myself cannot say that based on the evidence of what I've seen, the officers at any situation should have been not guilty of all counts. Aggravated assault, voluntary manslaughter, maybe not murder, because in the incident with the little boy, unfortunately, he did have a gun. It could be difficult, to tell the difference between the gun. But with the other people that did not have a gun and their cars shot at 137 times, as a person that's looking at this, there's no way that I can say that there's no guilt at all. If anything, the police department in general for Cleveland is guilty, and Obama's people are looking into that as well. The Surgeon General has been looking into that, and they did some scathing reports about Cleveland and saying how they have been willfully neglecting their power when it comes to arresting people. But I will say this to my African American people: please be calm. Don't start tearing up your own place. I mean, come on. Right. Don't tear up anything, but my God, why are you tearing your own place? Ain't nobody want to put nothing in your place anyway. Let's just be real about this. We having a hard time getting stores to come into black in areas. Now you're going to just tear them down because you mad about something. Let's do the same thing that Martin Luther King did. Let's fight with our knowledge, not with our weapons. Right. Let's fight with we have a lot of intelligent people out here that are capable of dissecting and talking and making sure that we can get things the way it should be without thinking that we've got to kill and shoot and tear things up. So let's make sure that we don't get into a situation where we start wanting to kill police officers. Wrong, like my mama said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. We cannot get to a point. We cannot get to a point. Let me say this again. We cannot get to a point where we're out there deciding that we're going to take the law into our own hand and start killing police officers. If they killed somebody that was innocent, then we should not kill somebody who's not innocent. And you don't know which one is innocent and not. So that means somebody that's innocent can die. Let the court system do what it's supposed to do. Let's make it do what it's supposed to do, not go out there and start shooting and killing anybody. Jonathan, you there, man? Throw out that shock factor for me, and we're going to change subject a little bit here.
Exclusively on the Let's Stay Together show, it's Shock Factor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most exciting stage show you've ever witnessed, appearing live.
Relationships gone wild. The Let's Stay Together talk show brings you crazy relationships issues and events that can only be heard on this show.
Oh my God.
Thank you.